Hi, how you guys doing? I just want to start off by saying my name and introducing myself and giving you guys a little background history about me. My name is Tawana Nicole Shannon Turner. I'm married now. I've been happily married for 7 months. I have three beautiful children. But before we even get into that, I want to get into my history. At a young age, I was given up for adoption. This is hard, so bear with me. Um, I was given up for adoption by my mother, Dorothy Jean Phillips. And I went through the ringers. I went through the system. I was at foster home to foster home. I can't even tell you how many foster homes I went through or was actually in. I was raped. I was molested at the age of 4 on up into the age of 8. No one believed me. No one will hear my cry. I was going to this school called Beachbrook in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I met the Shannons. And the Shannons took me in, and at the age of 14, I was adopted. And that's my forever family. And I am grateful for my mother and my father. I then went on to have 3 children of my own: Jalen, Philip, and Analia. 3 beautiful children. I love my children to death. When my son was 6 months, I met this guy named Philip Spearman. At the time, I was 20, young, naive, very manipulative. I was able to be manipulated at that age. I was 20 when I met him. I met him at this club that I was dancing at. And from there, we hit it off. At the time, my oldest son, Jalen, was, back and forth between me and my parents. Because at the time I was homeless, I really was not stable enough to take care of him 100%. And I wasn't able to take care of my son 100%. And this is my truth. I met Philip while I was working at a strip club in Erie, Pennsylvania. And, we kind of hit it off, whatever. I was homeless at the time, didn't have nowhere to go. So my son would stay in with my mom and my dad. And on the weekends, I would get my son. And during the weekdays, they would have my son, vice versa. However, at this time, I only had one child. After that, I went and I tried staying with my parents, but that didn't work. We didn't really agree on a lot of things. So I left home and went my own way. At this time, I would meet this guy named Philip Joseph Spearman. And Philip, who was a con artist and a manipulator, would manipulate me. Like I said, I was 20, so I was young. I then moved in with Philip because he provided stability for me, because I didn't have stability at the time. And me not having stability, I needed that in my life. I wanted to raise my son, you know, with the father and just do the family thing. I got pregnant a year and a half later with my son, Philip Joseph Spearman Jr. And that would be my first time of really experiencing what a domestic violence relationship really is. I never would have thought that this would turn out like this. After I got pregnant with Philip, he beat me. He dragged me downstairs. He threw me downstairs. He would choke me, punch me in my face, punch me in my head. He just became extremely violent. And I couldn't understand why. But it wasn't meant for me to understand why. And even all of the things he put me through, I still stayed. Because I wanted a family. I was this little girl that never had a family. Yeah, my mom and my dad, they were my family, you know. But I was grown, so I thought, and I wanted my own family. I made a lot of mistakes in my 31 years of living. I can honestly say that. I thought, hey, here's this dream guy. He has a career. He has his own place. You know, this could be good for me. That's what I thought. I thought it could be good for me. But it wasn't good for me. I was abused. He tried to kill me in 2012 when our son was 3 months old. I remember this man driving me down to Lake Erie. But before, it just, like, that whole day, it was just blurry. My friend, who I thought was a friend of mine, we was really close. She's like, hey, T, you know, come over here. We're having an all pink road party. Bring the kids over. I had just had me and Phil's son. She's like, bring the kids over, girl. We gonna have a good time, you know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about nothing. Just bring the kids over. I'm like, all right. So I loaded up Jalen and I loaded up PJ, put him in his little snowsuit, and I went over to my friend's house. And, they were drinking and smoking, and her sister, who's always been like a big sister to me, I was so flamboyant on trying to like show my son off or whatever. I was bringing him out the room. She's like, hey, T, we're smoking cigarettes. Don't bring the baby out here. I'm like, okay. So I put him in a room. So my son's father, at this time, now it's like 10, 9 o'clock at night. I'm calling them for a ride because I'm like, okay, well, we all, had a party. I done ate. I'm full. I'm ready to go home. And if I can recall that night and those events, it just went from a good conversation between me and him into like, I don't even know what to say, in like 2.5 seconds. So when he came over there, he was throwing beer cans at me. And my friend Lexi pulled me back in the house because he was throwing beer cans at me, and that hurt me. And I looked at my friend, and I'm like, listen. He was outside beeping the horn all crazy and acting crazy, like he roll around the block, come back, beep the horn, lay on the horn again, real crazy. This is after the fact that I had already loaded one of the kids in the car. I was coming down the stairs with my youngest son, which would have been at the time PJ. So I'm coming down the stairs, and he's blowing the horn, beeping, acting all crazy, outside screaming, calling me all type of B's and whatever. I don't know what's wrong. I'm trying to diffuse the situation at the time. I don't know what's wrong. And so I'm like, after he threw the beer cans at me and it almost hit me and my friend, She pulls me in the house. She's like, no, you can't go out there. You can't go out there. He gonna hurt you. And I'm like, if I don't go out there, it's just gonna make it worse. You know what I'm saying? So just let me go out there. She's like, no, T, I don't want you to go out there. And I just looked at her and I'm like, look, I have to. So I step outside. He's still throwing beer cans at me, full-blown beer cans at me. And I'm like, hey, I don't want to argue. Let's look. What's wrong? I'm trying to talk it out. But it was no talking it out. He threw a beer can at me, and I started running down the street, and I slipped on ice. When I slipped on ice, he kicked me get out the car, because I was down on the ground. I was trying to get up, but I couldn't get up. And he kicked me in my face with steel-toe boots. And I kind of blacked out for a second. But when I woke up, he was pulling me in the car by my hair. And he was like, I got something for you. I got something for you. And he's holding my head down the whole entire time that he's driving. He drops my oldest son off at my mom and dad's house. He drives me down to the lake. And he tells me, I will kill you. He picks me up and attempts to throw me in Lake Erie in the middle of December in 2012. I have a little girl by this man. I allowed her in 2020 to go down there and visit her dad. And he never returned my daughter to me. He lied to the courts. Told the courts he didn't know where I was at. That I was homeless. And everything else. I'm not going to lie. At the time, I was behind on my rent. And I moved out. But I wasn't homeless. I was staying with my father. I guess I'm just reaching out. And I'm asking people to share my story. Because I want to bring my daughter home. And I made this big mistake. By letting her go down there with this narcissist. It doesn't matter what I do, what I say. I'll never be good or fit enough for him. My daughter, Analia Renee Shannon, I love her so much. And I'll do anything for her. I guess I'm just asking for help. Because I want to bring my baby home. I haven't seen my daughter in almost 2 years. I don't even know what she looks like. I don't know her scent. I can't even fathom or imagine the pain that she's going through without me. I've always been there for her. I raised her on my own for 6 years straight. I moved out of the state of Pennsylvania in 2016 because every single time I called the police, nothing was ever done. They took me as a joke. They thought I was lying. They thought I was the aggressor. Police were called so many times. Nothing was ever done to him. I was the one that always ended up in a holding cell. Even with bruises on my face, bruises on my body. I was the one that was in a holding cell. Not him, but me. I'm asking anyone that comes across this video to please share and like and pass along the awareness of domestic violence and also the awareness of the court systems being wicked. I moved out of Erie, Pennsylvania in 2016. I've been living in the state of Cleveland, Ohio for 6 years straight. This will be my 7 years coming up real soon. With being in Ohio for 7 years. I can't ask for the help of my family because they don't support me. Even my not my adopted parents, but my biological parents. I'm not going to say my biological parents. I'm going to say my biological mother, Dorothy Jean Phillips. You know, after somebody, 27 years of you being gone out of your family, you would think that they would love and adore you, but she doesn't. She refuses to talk about. I'm not even going to talk about her because she's irrelevant. But all I'm saying is this. If you come across this video and you see it, I need help. I need help bad. So please share my story.